Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm going to be a bit vulnerable with you today. And I figure if I can't be vulnerable and model that for you, then how can I expect you to? But I truly believe that, for us to grow in our relationship with one another, we just have to be forthright and honest and genuine. And so I'm just striving to do that. I don't believe that COVID-19, that this virus itself, has been some kind of divinely unleashed pestilence upon us all. I don't believe and will not assert that God, actively has willed the death of tens of thousands of people as some sort of divine retribution for our wicked ways. What I do believe, and what seems clear to me, is that it's not the disease itself that's revealed our sin. It's the way we've responded as a global people that has condemned us to our current misery and suffering. It's not surprising that some within our nation are willing to, hate to put it this way, but willing to let grandma die in order to get more money. What is surprising is that people are telling grandma that. It seems our society at times is doomed to a perpetual immaturity, fixated on individual affluence over the common good, on personal autonomy over neighborhood wellness, on safety through arms rather than the pursuit of peace. Story after story is coming out of, store employees being bullied and intimidated and literally wrestled to the ground and an arm broken and people spat upon and a person even shot and killed, all over wearing a mask. As I hear these stories, I'm afraid of the person that I am becoming, a person I don't want to be. Over the last few weeks, I've watched protesters on the news gathering in crowds, not wearing masks and demanding governors and or mayors to rescind stay-at-home orders. And I found myself thinking, what's it going to take to wake people up? Do you need to get the virus to understand how deadly it can be to the most vulnerable among us? Don't you understand that ending social distancing too soon will just prolong a poor economy? I don't want anyone to get the virus. But I have moments thinking, well, God, if it will give them some empathy, maybe. But then I think I don't want to be that kind of person, but I do have those thoughts. Therein lies my dilemma. Told you I'd be vulnerable. People are behaving badly with reckless disregard for others. And my thoughts are no better. Okay. But, people showing up in state houses, armed to the teeth, denying science and trafficking in irresponsible and dangerous conspiracy theories, welcoming tweeted lies and disparagements, people going out to grocery stores without wearing masks, congregating on beaches, and they thoughtlessly disregard the value of the lives of vulnerable people, and pushing back with the justification that social distancing is way overblown and people are just being way too dramatic. But I find it hard to offer that argument or to speak such words to the families of the tens of thousands who have died because of this virus within just a couple months within our nation, and that's with social distancing. Part of me wants others to suffer the natural consequences of their selfishness and carelessness and contempt. Only I don't want to be the kind of person who wants these things. I don't want to lose compassion. Not even for the gun-toting, Confederate flag-wearing white nationalist. In response to a question about forgiveness, the Dalai Lama told a story about a Tibetan monk who was long imprisoned and tortured by the Chinese. And the Dalai Lama asked the monk, what during his imprisonment did he most fear? And the monk replied that what he most feared was losing compassion for the Chinese. I fear losing compassion. And then there's Jesus. I marvel at his ability to be moved by the condition of the very people who opposed and mocked him and eventually called for his execution. To be fair, Jesus did lose his temper on occasion, like with the money changers in the temple. And that story gives me some hope for myself and in my moments of outrage, I guess. Loving even in opposition to those who carelessly endanger others, and having compassion on those who would do us harm. This is indeed the narrow way. It seems that it would be so much better sometimes just to give in to the rage, to not lose the pent-up fury, to call people names, to wish locusts and murder hornets on others, and to banish them to the wastelands of our concern. Yet just as I consider doing so, I hear that annoying, still small voice that calls me to do better than that. To be the kind of person deep down I know that I really want to be. This is what we get for answering that exasperating call to follow Jesus, to discipleship. We don't have the luxury of hating people. We don't. Of writing people off, of ignoring them, of dehumanizing them, of wishing them ill, or even when they are acting in the worst ways possible, to look down upon them. We are called to something more. And sometimes I just hate that, because it's so hard. Then I remember that I, too, have often needed grace and compassion. That I've been wrong and have done wrong. That I have not loved God with my whole heart. And I have not loved my neighbor as myself. How hard it is becoming Christian. The Apostle Paul said it well. For I do not do the good I want to do, but I do the evil I do not want to do, and I keep doing it. He said that in Romans chapter 7, verse 19. That's the human condition. You know, too often, many Christians act like becoming a Christian is simply a matter of saying a formulaic prayer, and presto changeo, you're a Christian, you said the sinner's prayer or whatever. I'm convinced that this theological misstep has contributed greatly to what we see passing for evangelical Christianity in the U.S. today. Although many claim to read the Bible literally, a lot of Christians seem to overlook Jesus' clear words in his Sermon on the Mount, and in Luke chapter 6, where you say Sermon on the Plain, if you will. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? I mean, for even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. If you lend to those whom you hope to receive back what you lend to them, what credit is that to you? I mean, even sinners, lend to others, lend to sinners, to knowing that, they will receive back what they gave to them. But love your enemies. Jesus says, do good and lend, expecting nothing in return. That's in Luke chapter 6. Progressive and liberal Christians also have a hard time with these words, okay? Yeah. And moments like this with COVID-19 ravaging the world and so many people ignoring public health guidelines, spreading misinformation and recklessly creating risk for others. People doing that, it makes loving such angry people almost, underline almost, impossible. And yet that's exactly what we're called to do, is to love them, to love one another. And then I think, I don't want to, but I want to, but I don't, right? And so the struggle of becoming Christian continues deep in my soul. Sometimes I hang on by my fingertips, but I refuse to give up the struggle. For today, that may be the best I can do. I need to stay informed in a way that does not deform my view of others. All the while permitting that troublesome, still, small voice to find a place in my soul. That still, small voice that keeps asking me to love without limits and to be a better person than I think I can be. Perhaps my struggle is yours, perhaps it isn't. But I do want you to know you are in my thoughts and in my prayers, wherever you are in this season, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I want to be there for you. As broken as I am, I offer you my love. And I will do my very best to offer you my compassion. May God be with you. Peace with you always. God bless.